Good morning, traders. This is another live trading video. We're trading the small cap plan this morning, and I don't know if there's going to be a trade. I hope there is. There was a great trade a couple days ago. Yesterday there was no trade, but there was still some good tips on that video, so I released it anyway. But right now we're just waiting for the market to open. There's about a minute and a half, and if you hear some noise outside, there's I guess some landscaping going on, so apologize for that. What you're looking at right now is the Webull charts page open on my desktop, and to the left of me, you can't see it. It's not on the screen, but to the left of me where I'm sitting is my laptop, and I have that with my screener open. And that's just the way I prefer to trade. It's something I developed a while ago, and I just prefer that over switching back and forth between different pages or having, say, two windows open up, one with the screener and one with the chart page. So let me show you the small cap screener that I'm going to be using this morning, and I've been using this for the small cap trading plan since September of 2021. And one of the key things I do is organize the list by volume. So I'm only looking at the stocks trading with the highest volume. The market is not open yet, still 30 seconds. So what you're seeing here is like pre-market stuff. So might not make much sense. And these are my filters, and this is the kind of range that I have set up for the market cap and the stock share price. So this is what I'm looking at on my laptop. The only difference is the laptop screen size and resolution is different than this screen. So the last stock that I see on that screen, well, the market just opened, so everything is changing right now. But basically, I think about right here is the cutoff point on my laptop screen. So I'm only looking at stocks from here and above. I need to clear out all my price alerts. I have all these old price alerts, and that's one thing with Webull. It's a bit of a pain to delete all these price alerts, but I just need to do it. Otherwise, I keep getting these annoying alerts. So anyway, the market is open now. So I'm going to switch back to the charts page. I'll show you the screener again in just a moment, and we're going to get ready to start picking stocks. So I'm looking at my laptop right now using the screener just as I said I would, and organizing the list by volume. And let's see, as of right this minute, there is one stock that already meets our screener criteria. That's HNGR, and it is trading above the 200 MA. Obviously it gapped up overnight, it looks like. So we're going to put some lines on the chart. All the details of what these lines mean and why I use them is all written in my trading plan. No pressure whatsoever, but if you're interested in the details of the trading plan or the trading plan itself, it's available on patreon.com/tradingarmor. The best thing about, I'm just trying to get it to 1891. It doesn't really matter that much, but we can switch down to a lower time frame and probably get it there. Yeah, I think the most valuable part of my trading plan is there's about 3 or 4, maybe 5 pages just of daily reminders, and all those daily reminders are things that went wrong during my trading and things that I didn't want to repeat, that could cause you to lose money. And so anyway, yeah, I have listed all of those daily reminders right at the beginning of the trading plan, and I think that's really the most valuable part. Of course, it tells you how to enter, exit, where to place your stop, all that kind of stuff. So let me just refresh the screener again on my laptop. So we still have HNGR as the best looking stock. I'll show you that in just a minute on the desktop. Just want to go through and make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so we're up to date as of right now. This is the only stock to be watching. That might change. And let's take a look at the screener right here on my desktop, and you can see what I see on my laptop. So here's HNGR, and you can see that it's well above 5% on the percent change, and the volume is well over the 500,000 threshold. Let me just make sure I'm not muted for a second here. Yeah, we're good. Okay. And that's it, really. Everything else is below our requirements for getting onto the chart page. Basically, just the top 3 stocks are the only ones that meet the volume requirement. So this is what I'm looking at on my laptop, and it goes down to SD or AMLX right now, and everything else is kind of cut off. So I don't look at anything below that first page because that's where the highest volume is. You can see that there's a huge discrepancy between volume of the top 3 stocks and the rest of the stocks. So there's really no reason to scroll down and look at some of these random stocks that could have, big percent changes, because sometimes all it takes is one buyer, one share, or 10 shares, or 100 shares to move the price of a stock a great amount. But that does not mean that that's something that's tradable. If the volume isn't there, then there's no one to trade with, so it's not going to work out. Anyway, let's get back to the chart page. And one thing I could do, because this thing, may just be some like random gap up and not do anything throughout the day, I could put a price alert for the break of that 1891. And this is kind of a good tip right here, not just placing the price alert, but just knowing that just because a stock has a big percent change like this, let's go back to the screener and see exactly what it is. 25% this thing is up, right at the open. So if you're a brand new trader and you're seeing all this other stuff and you see that 25%, you think, wow, this is great. Let me just jump in and see what happens. Hopefully it continues. It's moving really strong right at the open. That's not necessarily a good idea. In fact, it's not a good idea. What you really need to do is have a plan and have a set of criteria, things that need to play out that confirm what the screener is telling you. Because just because the screener gaps up, it does not mean that you're going to automatically make money by jumping into the stock. So let me mute for a minute. I don't pause because I don't want you to think that I'm doing something off. When I'm paused, that I don't show you. So I like to keep the video rolling and keep it live all the way throughout the trading period, which is till 10 a.m. Eastern time. But I'm going to pause for just a minute just to get some coffee, and I'll be back in just a moment. Of course, I'm not pausing, I'm muting. I should say that. Sorry about that. All right, we have another stock that we need to check out here, SLI. Let's check it on the daily. That's the most important thing. And it's trading below the 200 MA, so we have to reject it. So we will do that. I didn't need to do all of that. Let me see here. HNGR. Get that back up there. And let me just refresh the screener one more time and see what else is going on. That's still it. There is another stock, CTIC, that does meet the percent change requirement, but not the volume requirement, not yet. So we're not going to look at it. We're just going to keep an eye on the screener. I can show you where it is right now. So there's HNGR, SLI. AG might be a contender if it gets a little bit more price movement, and then CTIC is right there. It's too low volume, but it's heading up. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out, and it'll pop up on the chart page if it needs to, if it meets that requirement. So anyway, I'm going to mute for now and be back as soon as something changes. Yeah, and just so you guys know, what I'm doing in the meantime is I'm keeping an eye on the screener on my laptop. So I have this open, and I keep refreshing it. I hit those three little dots and click modify. That's super important. That was one of my big tips from yesterday, is that if you don't do that, if you have all your filters set where you want them to, and a stock enters that range within your filters, it's not going to pop up on this screener unless you hit those three little dots and click modify. So I'll do that for you right now. So doing that refreshes the screener and allows any new stocks that maybe were not within the filter range before but are in there now, it allows them to populate the screener. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of confusing. I remember way back in the beginning when I first started trading with Webull, I would wonder why am I not seeing the stock on the screener, and I didn't really get it. And then I realized, okay, well, it's not automatically repopulating the list. What it does is whenever you open your screener, whatever meets that screener criteria at the moment, that's what's going to be on the list, and it'll stay on your screener list until the end of the day, unless it falls out of that filter range. But it will never bring in new stocks that fall into that filter range. So let me try to give you an example. Like, let's say that you have your bottom threshold of your market cap at $300 million, which that's what this is, 0.3B. That stands for $0.3 billion in market capitalization. So let's say you have a stock that, let me even find an example here, because I'm sure there's something. So right here, for example, BBBY, you could see that's near that $300 million threshold. So let's say at the beginning of the day it had very low volume and it was at $295 million market capitalization, and then some volume came in and shares were bought and the market capitalization goes up, and now it's inside of that market cap range that you have set. It's not going to pop up here on your screener now that it's inside the range unless you hit those three little dots and click modify. So that's just the way that Webull has kind of developed this screener, and it's just something that I've gotten used to dealing with. And I think that that's something, there's an underlying theme there. Everyone would love whatever platform they use to do everything they want to perfectly, but I just don't think that's realistic. I think that there are certain things that every platform must do, must be able to do, depending on your needs as a trader. And then there's certain things that, really you just kind of need to figure out how to maximize the use of the platform. And this is one of those cases. I think that the screener does everything I need it to. The only thing that I have to do is make sure to refresh it. That's it. So other than that, it works perfectly. So I'm not really going to make a fuss about some detail like that, because everything else about it works great. And Webull as a whole right now does everything I need it to. So I don't see any point in rocking the boat. And I know there is a new version as well. There's a version 6 point whatever they're up to now, and I have not updated yet, and I need to do that. But so far everything is working great. And I'm just refreshing my small cap screener, just like I just talked about, on my laptop, and making sure everything is up to date. So we have now CYH. Kind of came out of nowhere, maybe while I was talking. But again, it's trading below the 200 MA on the daily, so we don't need to worry about it. Let me get rid of it and get back to my 4-chart view. So nothing missed there. SLI we've already looked at. That CTIC stock, that's not doing much. It still doesn't have much volume, so nothing really to look at there. Let me show you the screener as it appears right now, so you can see what I'm looking at. It says HNGR, CYH we looked at, that was below the 200 MA on the daily, so we ignore it. SLI, same situation. And AG has nice volume, and it's not quite there to our percent change threshold, so I'm not going to check it out just yet. And CTIC is really just kind of fledgling down there. It's got a nice percent change, but it's been right around 5% since it popped up on the screener, and the volume is just like barely trickling in, so probably not much going to happen with that one. And that's pretty much it for now. So we'll just go back to the chart page and see what happens. Yeah, that HNGR, as I said, just because something is up, a huge percent change doesn't mean that you automatically jump into it with a trade. Obviously, this has not gotten anywhere near triggering a trade for us. And really what's happened here, which is not as obvious as it sometimes is that during the pre-market it popped up and now it's gone sideways. Sometimes it's extremely obvious. There'll be one candle that brings the price up, and then it is literally a horizontal line of candles where you could see this one has some oscillation, so it's not quite as obvious. But one of the things in my trading plan is that if a stock gaps up overnight and then has this kind of horizontal price action, that we don't consider it at all, because those stocks, I would say 99, I mean, again, this is not, I'm not going to say a percentage because I haven't actually collected the data, but just about all the time they just continue to go sideways throughout the day. There's no ranging price action that you could actually trade off of. So anyway, so HNGR looks to be one of those stocks, but we have an alert out just in case. Obviously, if it crosses that alert, then it's moving in a range, and we might be able to take advantage of it, or moving in a trend, I guess I should say. So anyway, we're going to mute for now, and I'm going to keep an eye on the screener in the meantime, and I'll come back as soon as something interesting pops up. All right, so we can take a look at AG. It's not quite at the 5% threshold, but I'm just going to see if it's something that we can reject from the daily chart. Yeah, so even though this looks really exciting if you're a new trader to see, you know, the price move up like that, if it's not part of your trading plan, you probably don't have a trading plan, and that's already a bad thing. But if you do have a trading plan and it's not part of your trading plan to trade, then you don't trade it. It doesn't matter what the intraday price action looks like. One of the key rules of the trading plan that I'm trading is that we cannot trade anything that is below the 200 MA on the daily chart, and that's because that indicates a long-term downtrend. So although of course it could reverse at any moment, that's not part of our trading plan or strategy. We don't trade reversals, we trade with the trend. Reversals are very unpredictable. They're very hard to predict. That's from the Department of Redundancy Department. And we are just sticking to the plan, and if it says to not trade stuff below the 200 MA, that's what we do. So we're going to reject AG. Now, if it was very close to the 200 MA, I would just mark that out and say, okay, if it reaches over that threshold, then we can consider it, but it's not even close, so that one gets rejected. So we've only got about 10 minutes left. This might be another no trade day, and that's absolutely fine if it is. I know it's kind of boring for a video because you'd rather see a trade, but I think what's more important than seeing me take a trade is seeing me stick to my plan. I don't think there are many traders out there that do that, at least not in the YouTube world. I'm sure in the legitimate retail trading world, people that have really made a career out of trading, that's what they do every single day, is they stick to their plan. They don't break it. They don't care if they take a trade or not. All they care about is did they stick to their plan, because they know if they do that in the long run, then they'll be able to duplicate their previous results. So anyway, I hopefully you see value in these videos where it's just me looking for things to trade, but not necessarily taking trades, because if stuff doesn't meet my criteria exactly, I don't take a trade. I don't care if it's close. I don't care if, well, 9 out of 10 things are met. I want to see every single piece of my criteria and plan met, because that's what we did for 100 trades. We forward tested all of that criteria for 100 trades, and we proved that plan profitable, but it still was it wasn't like it was a windfall type of a plan. We were up 15 times our risk after 100 trades. So it took 100 trades to produce 15 times our risk. That's not, that great of a result. And does it mean that the plan isn't that good? No, I don't think so. I think it means that people's expectations of results of day trading are unrealistic. And, that's the fault of all these people just pulling statistics out of their, where, and saying that, if you take this setup, it works 90% of the time. I mean, show me the data that you've collected where you've taken that setup for 100 times or more, and you've won that trade 90% of the time, and then maybe we can talk. But that's what I did for 100 trades, and I found out my first entry works about 25% of the time, and the second entry works about 50% of the time, and the third entry we didn't take often enough really to have meaningful data. I think we had like 9 or 12 trades, and it was somewhere around that 50%. So, and this is using one of the most well-known trading patterns there is, the ABCD pattern, and you can check out a video that I have explaining that pattern, and that is a supposed high probability setup, but I just told you what the real probabilities of those entries are to working out. So hopefully you guys get the message. It doesn't matter what someone says, even me, doesn't matter what I say, the probability of a setup working. It's what you find the probability to be. So it's up to you guys to test a setup and test it 100 times, not 5 times or 10 times, and say, oh, okay, it worked. Out of 10 trades, I took 10 trades in a row and it worked 7 times. That doesn't mean that it's going to be 70%, that the trade is going to win 70% of the time. You really need to take a sample size of 100 trades or more before you find out the real probability. So we do have a couple other stocks we can look at here. I'm looking at the screener right now. Sorry for that rant, but I'm trying to give you guys some value here, even if I don't take a trade. So LQDA, that's on my screener. It's just below the volume threshold, but it's meeting the other criteria. So we're going to take a look at it, and I'm sure that if it hasn't already triggered a trade, by the time it does, the volume will be there. But I can see right now that it's not likely to trigger a trade because I'm looking at it on the daily chart. And one of the requirements is that, one of the requirements is, that's live trading for you. One of the requirements is that it must break over the previous daily candle. So I'm going to mark that out. That high was 560. And there we are, 560. And we need to look at the pre-market as well. So we'll go to the 5-minute chart for that. Yeah, and we can see that it's nowhere near. So I'll put an alert out there now. I got to clear out my alerts at the end of this trading day. Otherwise, I'm going to have a million alerts. Let me just refresh the screener one more time. We're running out of time now. I'm only willing to give the market a half an hour per day for the small cap trading. Other than that, I start to feel like I'm wasting my time and rather just move on with my day. So the energy should be there within the first half hour. If it's not there, it's not a good sign. Doesn't mean there's never going to be a winning trade from 10 to 10:30, but how much of your life do you want to give up for looking at charts? I mean, of course, when you first start out, you think that you're going to look at charts all day long, and you'll do that for a while, and then you realize what a nightmare that becomes. So anyway, I'm just looking at the screener here and talking at the same time. Yeah, I don't really see anything else that looks interesting. So interestingly enough, that HNGR is the #1 stock on the screener, which again, if you don't know better, you might think, wow, that's the one to be in. And, I'm just going to jump in and see what happens. But look at what's happened throughout the day. Nothing. If you would have jumped in on the first 1-minute candle or something like that, I'm just trying to think like what I would have done if I was a brand new trader and had no idea what I was doing. You might have got in around, let's say the close 1845, and right now it's down 10 cents. It's not done anything but bleed out throughout the day. So anyway, it's just the way things go. The LQDA, I think I needed to reject that one, right? Oh, no. So that's the one we've got the alert. So this one has to break over the previous day before we could even consider taking a trade. Then there's some other criteria that must be met on the chart. So again, that just goes back to what I said earlier, that's based on all of our forward testing. We had all this criteria that must be met in order to take trades, and only when they were met did we take trades. And even with such strict criteria, it was not easy to be profitable. We had to change our profit target from 2R to 3R. Once we did that, then the system became profitable with, as I said, 15 times our risk and profit after 100 trades, which is really not that much when you consider how long it takes to generate 100 trades trading a strict system like this. So just goes to show you how difficult day trading is, despite what others would have you believe. Just checking out the screener. Let me refresh it. We're coming here. We've got like 2 minutes left, so there's nothing new. I'm just going to call it here. And this will end up being a trading philosophy video that hopefully you found value in, even though there were no trades taken. And if you did, hit the like button. If you have any questions about anything I said, just leave a comment below. Even if it's in disagreement, that's absolutely fine. We're all entitled to our opinions. So the one thing I'll say about most of what I just said in this video, it's not really based on opinion, it's based on statistics that I've collected myself. So that doesn't mean they're perfect and they're not flawed or anything like that, but I'm not just saying what someone else said, and I'm not just kind of saying what I think or feel. So there's a difference there. All right, so let's look at, this is going to just be for fun because it's not really fully meeting our, actually, you know what, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to present any bad habits. So one thing I want you guys to do is always wait until your criteria is met before you start looking at stocks, because it's very dangerous to pull up a stock before the criteria is met, because you might get excited about it for some reason. Maybe the chart looks really strong and you think, oh, this is the one, and you start to either forget or you ignore that, hey, one of my criteria is not met, and you take a trade anyway. And either outcome of that trade is bad. If that trade works, then you have been encouraged now to break your plan, and you know what happens when you do that in the long run. You end up blowing up your account or being unprofitable. And if the trade fails, then you feel like an idiot because you took the trade knowing that it was against your plan or your criteria. So again, that's nothing but trading philosophy in this video, but I think everything that I said really has a lot of value to it. It has for me, that's for sure. In all the years I've been trading, I mean, that's really wisdom that I've gained over thousands upon thousands of hours of trading, studying and trading, and then looking back at my results and collecting data and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys find value in it too. If you're a brand new trader, a lot of that may be over your head, but that's okay. You can always come back to this video later when you've gained some knowledge. So again, let me know if this video was helpful to you, or was it a complete waste of time. I'm not going to force a trade just to make an entertaining video, and I'm not going to just look for whatever else might be moving out there. I am going to stick to my plan and my criteria every single day. That is, I think, one of the unique things that I offer here on my Trading Armor YouTube channel, is showing someone with the ability to stick to their trading plan, because there's so many traders out there on YouTube. Again, I'm not talking about real traders, but I'm talking about YouTube traders that say, oh, it's okay to break your rules because everybody does it. I don't believe that at all. I think everybody on, we can just about say just about everyone on YouTube that trades is a rule breaker. But I think that if there are legitimate retail traders out there that have a career trading, then chances are those guys are not breaking their rules, or if they do it, I mean, it's extremely rare, or it's inadvertent or something like that. If you make a habit of breaking your rules and saying, well, it's okay because everybody does it, it's just not going to work out. It just isn't. So again, I think I've ranted enough, and we're now past our cutoff. It looks like I forgot to set my alarm, which that's really important. To remind you when to stop trading. So you can see that this LQDA is moving, and although that is tempting, it's against my plan to trade beyond 10 a.m. So I'm going to let it do whatever it wants to do, because trading discipline is the most important thing, and we'll ignore it. We'll come back on Monday, and we will be looking for trades again. So that's it. So having said that, always go into every single trade with a plan. Stick to that plan no matter what. Always take your stop losses, honor your profit target, and in the long run, you should be green. Take care.